Today, we're talking about the much-debated turn-based and real-time combat in JRPGs. The debate between real-time combat and turn-based combat in JRPGs has been ongoing for decades, and fans on both sides can be fiercely loyal to their preferred battle system. Real-time combat offers a more action-packed experience where players must make split-second decisions and react quickly to enemies. Turn-based combat, on the other hand, offers a more strategic approach where players can take their time to plan out their moves and choose the best course of action. Both styles have their own unique strengths and appeal, with real-time combat providing an adrenaline rush and turn-based combat offering a more methodical and cerebral experience. However, when these two systems come together in a game, it can create a unique and engaging gameplay experience that combines the best of both worlds. Let's take a look at some examples of games that blend real-time and turn-based combat. But before we dive into today's lesson, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can stay up to date on all our latest videos and content on the YouTube channel. Eternal Sonata is a shining example of how turn-based and real-time action gameplay can come together in perfect harmony. The game's unique combat system is a blend of tactical time and an action gauge, which allows for strategic planning while maintaining the excitement of real-time battles. One of the standout features of Eternal Sonata's combat system is tactical time. Before each character's turn, players are given time to plan their next moves. This feature is reminiscent of turn-based gameplay, where players are given time to think about their next move without the pressure of real-time combat. Once players have decided on their actions, they are then given a limited amount of time to execute them using the action gauge. This creates an exciting tension that is reminiscent of real-time action games. Players need to think on their feet and make split-second decisions to take down enemies. Regular attacks in Eternal Sonata add a small quantity of time back to the action gauge and generate echoes for the party. These echoes can be used to execute special skills that consume whatever echoes have been generated up to that point. This mechanic encourages players to think strategically about how they use their regular attacks to build up echoes for powerful special skills. Defending in Eternal Sonata also adds an extra layer of strategy to battles. Players can block some of the damage from enemy attacks or even counterattack, interrupting the monster's turn. This encourages players to think critically about when to defend and when to go on the offensive. Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy XIII, is a great blend of turn-based and real-time combat. First off, let's talk about the Style Change Active Time Battle (SATB) system. This system is a heavily modified version of the Command Synergy battle system used in the previous two games. It's got all the real-time features we love, like taking control of Lightning's movements and attacks, and a real-time block, dodge, and counter system. This means that you gotta be on your toes and ready to dodge and counter enemy attacks while planning your own. Now, the cool thing about this system is that players can assign 4 commands to the controller's face buttons, which correspond to individual abilities. And instead of selecting commands, players will press buttons to execute them. Timing-based mechanics are also present, meaning that you gotta be precise with your inputs and execute them at the right moment. Even though this is an action RPG, it still features an ATB gauge that depletes with every action. This means you gotta think about what moves to execute and when to execute them, making for some strategic gameplay. This essentially acts as cooldowns for all your abilities. Once a style is depleted, quickly switch to another. In The Legend of Heroes, Kuro No Kiseki II, the battle system is a great blend of real-time action and turn-based combat, with both modes receiving significant improvements from the previous game. Like the previous game's combat system is divided into 2 modes: real-time action battles similar to Falcom's Yi series, and traditional turn-based combat featured in the series past. The game encourages the player to use both modes, which can be freely switched between outside of boss fights, which are exclusively turn-based. The field battles have new features such as fields arts and cross-charge. The addition of new characters also adds variety, making battles less repetitive. Command battles, the traditional turn-based battle system, seem unchanged at first glance, but there is a significant change that makes battles work completely differently. In addition to requiring 2 S-boost bars to go into full boost to use an S-craft, a character can only use an S-craft once per full boost. This means that the player can no longer chain multiple S-crafts from the same character over and over again, changing the dynamics of boss battles immensely. As fights can now last far longer, shard skills are far more important, as is finding ways to survive through some bosses' powerful attacks. Bosses always now throw certain twists in, resulting in far more tense and exciting fights. The debate between real-time combat and turn-based combat in JRPGs is ongoing and depends largely on personal preference. Real-time combat can provide an intense, action-packed experience that keeps players on their toes, while turn-based combat can allow for more strategic planning and decision-making. However, there are some excellent examples of blending the two styles together, as we've seen today. From From the tactical time system of Eternal Sonata to the style change active time battle of Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy XIII, and the improved battle system of The Legend of Heroes, Kuro No Kiseki II, these games have found ways to incorporate the best of both worlds. Your homework assignment is to tell us which do you prefer, real-time combat, turn-based combat, or a blend of the two. Also, tell us what's your favorite battle system in a JRPG. Jot down your answers in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next lesson at the JRPG Academy on Rushdown Radio.
So remember, you're in my arena. So like, comment, and subscribe.